Okay guys, yeah, this is our second class. We need to set up our React environment for development. So you go to your Google Chrome, just go to Google and search for download VS Code. This is the text editor I use. It's very good. I would recommend this one for you. So right here you see Windows 10 11. You click on it and you install Visual Studio Code. Then we are going to be using Node.js because we are going to be using npm packages. That's Node Package Manager. Yeah, so you're going to need to install Node.js. These are the major applications that are going to help you run your React app. And we are going to be using Material UI. So I have all this already installed on my system. So right now I want to install my React application. One last thing, you also need to install Git Bash. Let's just go to Google so you see how you do it easily. So just put type download Git Bash. And this is it. You download it, install it, and you can use your Git Bash terminal to send your command prompt. I prefer Git Bash, it's really cool. So in order to create our project, we have to just first of all create our folder. So let us call this one my website. Okay, let's open VS Code. For you to open this folder in VS Code, all you need to just do is right click on it. I initially told us to install Git Bash, so we need it. Just click on Git Bash, and for you to open VS Code with Git Bash, you just type code dot. Yeah. Okay, for you to open a terminal in your Visual Studio Code, which is our text editor, just click on the three dots at the top, tap on terminal, you see new terminal, and that's it. You can use a shortcut Ctrl Shift. So right here, all we're going to do is we're going to type npm create vite latest. Click on enter. Okay, it's telling us we need to install the following packages in order to use create vite. Click on yes, why, and click on enter. So now it's asking us to give our project a name. So what do you want to name your project? I'll call my own project Cheap Buy. That's what I'll call my web store, Cheap Buy, and click on enter. So here it's asking us which particular app do we want to use. Of course, React. Use your arrow key, come down to React and click on enter. So now it's asking us to select which particular programming language you want to use. We are using JavaScript, so use your arrow key, scroll down to JavaScript and click on enter. Okay, now it's asking us to change directory, that's cd Cheap Buy, to change directory into our project folder. So for you to do that, just type cd and type chip by, which is the name of our project, chip by, and click on enter. Now we are in chip by. So what we need to do here is just to click on npm install. Sorry, type npm install. So we are going to install all the necessary packages that we need, our node modules and the rest. It's doing that for us already. So at this point, we can just type npm run dev to run our application. Okay, so now it's telling us our URL is this one here. So in order to run our web browser, we just need to copy this, Ctrl C, Ctrl V to paste, click on enter. Yeah, now you can see we have our Vite image, we have our React image, and our counter. It gives us a counter right here. But all these things, we are going to delete it because we are going to start our application afresh. So let's go back to our VS Code. Yeah, so this is our folder, chip by. Let me just show you. You see this folder right here, node modules. Basically, what node modules is, it's an external folder that helps us to run our application. That's where we have our build tools, our utility libraries, our routing libraries. So basically, we don't do anything with this folder. Basically, don't do anything here. We also have our public folder. That is where we have our Vite image. Take note, we don't need this actually, this Vite image in our public folder. So let me just delete this file, image file, delete, and we'll go back to our browser. And you notice if we refresh, this image is going to go. Yeah, see, it's gone. Okay, that's for our public folder. During our bonding, when we are going to build our final project, it ignores this folder. The main folder that it uses is our asset folder. I think let me see, this is our asset folder. So this is where you put your videos, your images. During the bonding, when you're finally building your project, it's going to use these folders here, not the one in the public folder. So let's look at our index. Okay, let's look at our main.jsx. Initially this was called index.jsx. This is our root folder where we link our application to our DOM. You get it? So you can see document.getElements by id root.render. It renders our application, which is app, and that is it here, app.jsx. You see, that's where we have what is displaying in our browser. But if we go to our index.jsx here, you see that this is our root folder. These are root elements. You see, we had get element by id root. This is it, get element by id. This is it. This is where our application is being rendered. You understand me? Yeah. So in our head, we can also put other meta tags here. We have our title. If we change this, let me change this to chip by, to the name of our application. You see what will happen in our browser. Chip by. Let's go to our browser. See what is there? Chip by. It has changed to chip by. So you can make some changes right there. Okay, what else do we have? Basically, these are our documents, our HTML document. Yeah, so that is our entry point. This is our main tag that takes that. This is where our application is being pinned to. That's why you see get element by ID. You understand? So what element are we trying to get? Just go to your app.jsx, sorry, our main.jsx. You see, get element by ID root.render. What are we rendering? We are rendering our app application, which is this. You understand? So this right here now, okay, let me first of all go to this index.css. This is our CSS sheet, our style sheet. You understand? This is our style sheet, is our global CSS. This app.css, we are going to delete it because that's what styles everything we are seeing in the browser here. That's what arranges it, gives it the styling, the coloring, you know, how you want it to be placed in your browser. Like, you understand? So now what we do is this. We are going to delete. So we're going to start afresh working with a blank folder file. We are going to delete this, all of this right here. I'm going to delete this. Let's delete this. We're going to delete everything here. Return. We're not returning this. Delete this right here. Let's delete it. Yeah, we just have an empty fragment. So right now we don't have anything showing in our browser. So we are also going, because if you look up here, we imported all this. So we delete all this also. Then look at this app.css. We are equally going to delete it. We don't need it also. Yeah, because that's where the styling was done. Then the app.css file, we are going to also delete it. Fine. So if you go to our browser now, you see that we're having a blank page. Nothing is there because we have deleted everything. So now we can start afresh with our own elements, which is XML. So let me explain something simple to you right here. You see, React.js it enables you. Remember, React is a JavaScript library. It enables you to write HTML in JavaScript, which is called XML. So this is what let's put our first XML here. We'll call it home, or let's quickly create it first in our source folder. Let's create it. We'll create a new folder, call it home.jsx. Let's create a folder. Let's just create a folder. Inside that folder, we create our JSX file. Call it home.jsx. Get it? So now in our app.jsx, we are going to import our home.jsx. Sorry, capital letter, take note, capital letter H, that's how you import components. So right here, if you look at this, let me show you this. There's a snippet that's being used for shortcut to help you write your this is it, ES7 React Redux GraphQL snippets. You need to install this. You need to install it. It helps you write out your function without you having to type everything yourself. Okay, so you see what I'll do now. RAFCE. See, it helps us import an arrow function. You see, import React from React. Actually, this import React from React, we don't even need it, because since ES16, ES6, you can use a functional component without that importing React. Okay, so we have this now. So let's just write something here. Hello world. Let's just write hello world and see what will happen. Hello world. And let's go to our app.jsx. Let's import home. This is it. We have imported home. Okay, so let's go to our browser. You see, we have hello world. From what I can see here, there's a default styling that is rendering our component horizontally at the middle of our screen. Let me find out where that is coming from, because our app.js now, we've deleted the app.css, the styling file. Let me check our index, our global style. Let me see. Okay, see display flex. Let me comment this out. Let me comment this out and see if it's gonna remove that styling. Let me comment this out. This body style. This is how you do. You comment multiple lines in our CSS. You see, everything within this /star and /star, this end, is going to be commented out. So let's go back to our browser and see. You see it as the styling has left. It was rendering it display flex, align items, just justify content center, and bringing it down to the middle, but now it's at default. We've removed those styling. Okay, so we can proceed now with our application. So what exactly do we want to do? I told you we are going to create a nav bar for our e-commerce shop called CheapBuy. That's what this particular tutorial is. That now that we have cleaned up our application, we can now start to code. So let's create a component. So React, like I said in the previous tutorial, in the previous series, is component based. You understand? Instead of you to just be coding straight, you can build your application by components and render them into your app.js, which is our root file. But inside our app.js, we're having home. In a page is made up of several components. So now, what page have we created? We've created home page. You understand? So I made a mistake. I was meant to this particular home folder, I'm supposed to put it in a folder called pages. Let me create that folder. Pages. So this is how you just structure your application like this to make it very organized. So this, let me see, I should be able to cut this. Cut. Let me paste it and paste it in here. Yes, so we have to make changes to our import. So go to your app.js. I have to go back to my app.js. You understand? So now, yeah, it has already done it for me. Before, it was just from home and home. This is the home folder, this is the home JSX. So it has gone, this is the pages, home JSX. Okay, so that's that. So now in this pages, what I'll do in my source folder, I want to create another folder called components. So in this component, I'll create a component and I'll create a folder again, new folder. I'll call it navbar. First of all, I want to create the navbar folder. Navbar. Inside this navbar, I'll create two files, our index.jsx, which are component, and our navbar.jsx, which is our component, and our navbar.css, which is our style file. So create new file, and then what do I want to do? I'll write navbar.jsx. Okay, then I also want to create a file, call it navbar.css. Okay, inside this navbar.jsx, I'll do REFCE, which is our code snippets shortcut to help us write our React functional component. Okay, then let me write here, what do I call this? Okay, let me just write here inside of it, let me just write navbar, so we see that in our, let me just write navbar. Then this navbar, we are going to import it into our home component. Initially we wrote hello world. Instead of hello world, what we bring here is our navbar component. I hope you understand what I'm doing. This is it. It does auto import for us, so you search for what you need to see it. Navbar component, see it, import navbar from. You see, let me explain something to you. Look at this component. This component, it's not at the same level with our app.js. Our app.js is in an outer folder. So for us to import navbar, where is navbar? I'm trying to make you understand this structure of importing here, this file structure that we see here, because some of us will be confused. Even initially me, I was confused. But what is happening here is that this navbar, where is it? Look at it. Navbar, it's inside what? A folder called navbar. Navbar folder is inside a folder what called components. See it? It's going out. Navbar, navbar JSX, navbar folder, component folder, then // What does that mean? Component. Where is component? Component folder is inside our source folder. So we have to go out 2 steps. This is just the listing of the folder himself, but they are in 2 steps deep into components. You understand? Component is the outer folder. That's why we see 2 steps out. // Component is the one that is out. Navbar is 2 step in. It's inside component, and component is inside navbar folder. That's why we have // So you have to come out from the 2 folders where navbar is. Navbar is inside navbar folder and inside navbar component. This component is at the same level with our is at the same level with our home.jsx. I just needed to make you understand that, because you need to get this structure right. So you go over what I just said, definitely you understand. Okay, now that we have brought in our navbar, so let's go to our navbar where we are going to do our work. So we're going to our navbar JSX. This is our navbar JSX. Let me just change, right? Okay, in our browser now we should be seeing navbar. Yeah, that's what we wrote, navbar right here. So what do we want to do? I'm going to give this a class name of nav container in React.js, which is when we are writing HTML, which is XML. That's why we call it JXX. This X at the end here, this X at the end here stands for XML. That is writing HTML inside JavaScript. So in XML components, when you want to write class name, you can't do it like pure vanilla JavaScript HTML. You can't just write class. In this one, you have to use class name. And what do we want to call our class? Let's call it nav container. Nav container. Okay, so now we go into our navbar.css and write dot, that's how you call your class, nav container. Go to our curly braces. So what do we want to do? We want to give our, let me just show you our navbar. Let me do a design that would display our navbar. Let's give it a height of 60 px. Height of 60 px. And let's give it a background color of black. Okay, so let's go to our we need to first of all import our style into our navbar.js. So how do we do that? We just remember we don't need this React, so we just do import /navbar.css. Okay, this should be fine. Then our colon here, semicolon. So in that statement, let's go to our browser. You see it's already right here. And you see, if you look close, you see that the navbar we wrote is still there, but we are going to remove it right now because we don't need it. So yep. So what do we now do next? We want to create a wrapper for our navbar. Before we start putting individual components into it, we're going to do another div here. Okay, we give it a class name of wrapper. Nav wrapper. Let's call it nav wrapper because along the line we might create another wrapper, so we differentiate so our classes don't confuse each other. Call it nav wrapper. Okay, and inside this nav wrapper, what are we going to do? We are going to create 3 components. We are going to divide our nav into 3 places. First to be, we call it left, center, and right. So they're also going to be div. So we are going to, let's just call it left. So in order to duplicate this, so you work faster, you just do Shift Alt with your down arrow key. It's going to duplicate, so we change it to center and change this to right. So what do we call? So we just okay, let's first of all go to our nav wrapper and give it a style. Okay, let me first of all show you so that as we are working, let me go and remove this. I just wanted to show you the nav itself, you understand? Let me remove this styling. There's our nav CSS. Let me remove this background of black, but the height remains 60 px. So now let me put a class of nav wrapper. Let's do display flex. First of all, let me show you, because I want us to be seeing what is happening here. See, they are all vertical right now. I want to make them horizontal in display. So what do? We just go here and say display flex. Display flex. Look at what happens. You see, they are now horizontal. Now I want to space them out equally. How do we do that? You say, type in here, justify content space between. Space between. You see, they will spread out evenly. See, we have left at this end, we have center, and we have right here. So what do we need to do now? Want to give it a padding of 10 px top and bottom and 20 px left and right. Let's check it out. Sorry. Yeah, you can see now we have a padding at the top and the bottom, and we have padding left and right. Padding is, you see, every element, every XML or HTML, you look at it like a box model. When you say padding, that means you are creating a space at the edges within, not outside. Within. You understand? You are creating a space within at the edges. You see, we have space at the top, space at the bottom, and space at the left and right. That's what this styling has done. Fine. So let's now go to our individual left, center, and right. So let's go to our GXS. Okay, now we are going to give each of them a class name of left, center, class name of right. Okay, so what do we want to put inside this first one? We want to put a span element. I want to put a span element and a search, a div that we're going to call, a div that we're going to give a class name of search component. This is it. We're going to do a span. A span is an inline element. It doesn't push the next element to the next line. So we call it English. I want to put English here. Yeah. Let's give it a class name of class name of language, because this indicates selecting of language. Okay, after it we're going to give it put a div, and we're going to give it a class name of, it's because this is a beginner tutorial, so that's why I'm using CSS. You understand? We have start component, we have tailwind, we have Sass. Yeah, so but for the purpose of this tutorial, we are going to be using the normal CSS styling. So we give this a class name of search container. Search container. Okay, inside this search container, what do we want to do? We're going to have two things. We're going to have a search icon, which we're going to take from Material UI, and we're going to have an input. So let's first of all go to our browser. Already, just type in MUI.com, then first thing you do is to click on get started, click on installation, then you copy this right here at MUI/material. You copy it, just come to your code editor and come to your code editor and paste it here. So you write npm install, then paste it, space, paste it. That's what you do. So basically the icon you need after you need to paste this is the starter library. This is the main library default you need to install before you now go to icons, material icons. What we want to use here is search. Just click on search. We need that search icon, and this is it. So you now install at MUI/icon-material. You will get this icon. You get that. Okay, now let's go to our VS Code and continue our development. So now let me go to my navbar. Go to my navbar. You see what we have here? We have this search. Under it, I'm going to put, let me just type in input. See input right here, but we don't need this input. We need to use the input icon and the input tag itself. Let's put in the input tag. Tag itself, and let's put a placeholder. Let's just say search. Okay, remember everything is inside the class name of search container. Let's check it out. Yeah, we have the input. Okay, right inside our left, we need to align this div search container and this div span. You need to align them vertically. Get. So let's go to our CSS, navbar.css. So let's just come here and say left. Say this display flex. I'll say align items center, and look at it. You can see it has aligned. This is one component here, and these two are inside another div. We gave a class name of search container. So now let's go to search container so we can align this search icon and this search input. So I need to show you this thing step by step, so I don't just write it over your head. Okay, so we go to, let's write the class here. I'll call it search container. I'll say display flex, align items center. So you look at it, you see it's aligned now. It's aligned. So we want to separate this component and this element and this and div as we gave a class of search container. I want to separate them, so we just go to the search container and do a margin left 25px, margin left 25px. Let's see if that will be okay. See, margin left set 25px. So now I want to put a border. You understand? A border around this. I want to put a border around this, and for this input we don't want to see this border, input border. We give the div a border, remove this input border. Let's go and do that now. So we give it a border. Let's say border 1px solid. Oh, sorry, we say 1px. Yeah, 1px solid, and give it light gray. Light gray. Let's see what it looks like. Now you see the border. Okay, so now we do border none for the inputs. Let's call it input search. Let's go and give it a class, because I don't want to just bring in inputs here, you understand? Or do no, let's go to our JSX. Let's give our input a class name of input search. I hope you understand what I'm doing, because this input, if I use input, if I style another component with input, it's going to affect this one. The styling might contradict each other, so let me just specify it separately. So I type in input search. Okay, let's style it. Input. Okay, let me just go below this, or let me do it below this. Let's say input search. I'll say border none. Border none. So let's check. You see, it's no more there. Understand? Okay, I think that is fine. Or let's do a padding. Let's do a padding of 5px. Let's see what it looks like, because these inputs and this search, they are too wide and close to the edge. Let's do a padding. Sorry, in the search container itself, let's do a padding of 5px all around. Okay, you see that now. I think that's okay. So what else do we need to do here? So okay, let's reduce the size of this to 16px or 18px. So let's say we can do an inline style here. What we do, we just do here, we just say style is equals to say font style, font size. This is 16. Let's say 16. Let's check. Okay, you can see it's smaller now. Yep. Okay, so we've styled that. Let's go to the center and do our style. Okay, there's one thing we also need to do. Let me just show you. Let's go to the center. Let's go to Lips blind text generation. Let's copy some dummy text from here. I want to show you something. If you don't do this, it can affect the sizes of each of those components. See, on center, let's remove this center and just paste what we copied. You'll notice something. So if you go to your application now, you see it has pushed the other components to the far end. They are not equal. You understand? So for us to do this now, to correct this, just go to your styling. Go to your styling and give each of them flex 1. Flex 1. Yeah, flex 1. Okay, let's check now. You can see they're all equal now. What the importance of this flex 1, when you want to give all the elements in between to have equal size. So let's just go and remove it. We don't need it, just to show you the importance. Let's just put center. Okay, anyway, that's where we are now. So what do we need to do here? In the center, I want to just put our logo. You understand? I want to put our logo, and that logo, let's call it H1. Let's give it H1 tag, and there we just say what do we call our application? We say cheap buy. Cheap buy. Cheap buy. Okay, and let's give it the class name of logo. Logo. Okay, let's go to our navbar.css. Under center, let's do a class name. Let's write our class name logo. Okay, but in center, I want to align it. Let me show you first of all. So let me do cheap buy. Okay, so what do we want to do? Let's align it center. Align. Let's do text align. Text align center. You can see it has centered it. Okay, so let's go to the logo itself. Let's do text transform. Let's do uppercase. That's capitalized everything. Okay, so let's reduce the font size. Let's give it a font size of 40 px, and let's see what it will look like. Font size 40 px. Okay, I think this is better. Okay, so now for the right, what we'll do is we are going to have 3 divs. Let's get rid of this right here. We don't want that. Let's come here and just put 3 divs. What do we call this? Let's call this register. You know, the code I gave you to, you do Shift Alt and your down arrow key to duplicate. Let's call this one login. Then for this one, we are going to be using our badge icon. Understand? Let me show you in our Material UI how you get that. Just go to badge. Here, type badge. I want to easily search something. Badge. Okay, so we can see we have our badge here. We want to use this specific one. It's a badge. Just copy this, paste it here. But take note, we are not using mail icon. We are using shopping cart icon. We're using shopping cart. Yeah, so let's import it. Let's import our badge. Importing our badge from material UI. For right, first of all, for right, we're going to do a display flex. Okay, see, they are all horizontal now, so we are going to do flex end. We are not going to do space between. We are going to do justify content flex end, so that will push them to the end. Justify content, going to do flex end, and see what happens here. They are all pushed to the end, but instead of that, we are going to do a margin left. Maybe? Yeah, let's do margin left and see first for each of the items. Let's give it margin left of 25px. I think that's not enough. Let's do 40px. Okay, now this is what we need. We need to import badge from at MUI/material/badge, and when you get it, you come to your MUI.com. You look for badge, you see it here, import badge from this. Okay, that's it. But there's one thing we need to add. See, color is primary. Let's just add that to our badge. Let's give it a color of primary. Okay, let's see now. Let's see, it's color of primary. So I think we are good at this point.